What's up guys, Lyndon here, and I'm recovering from a throat infection. Yeah. So that's fun. Just started antibiotics, which I'm going to feel incredibly guilty about. Whatever. We move on. I've got to deliver you guys a video. Because I know that if I don't, people will just think I'm making excuses to dodge my predictions. Because earlier in January, I made some predictions about how Formula 1 was going to go down. Some of them nobody believed me on, and I was right. And some of them I've gotten horribly wrong. So I have clearly stolen an idea from Formula 1 media and from Sky Sports F1 in using my notebook. So this is going to be like Lyndon's mid-season predictions review notebook. So let's get into it. Pop open this notebook. So let's start with who performed as expected, as I expected. The Hamilton-Verstappen title battle. Oh my god. I have never in my life, and I've been watching Formula 1 for all of my life. Like, since I was a kid, I remember watching Formula 1. I have never, ever seen a title battle go down to the wire like this. And it already feels like it's going down to the wire, and we're halfway through the season. Imagine what kind of a nervous wreck I'm going to be towards the end, man. The only one I can think of that was a bit more intense is maybe 2007, 2008. But still, the action, oh my god, it's provided some action. I'm not going to comment on certain things because I don't want the comment section to become a slaughterhouse. But, wow. There's been a lot this year to be able to have an opinion on, hasn't there? And it's been great. I've enjoyed watching it at every stage, so I knew that it'd be closer this year between Hamilton and Verstappen. And I don't know, I don't remember if I released, it's been so long, I don't remember whether I released my initial predictions before or after pre-season testing. But I think it was before. I always had that inkling. And I thought that by saying Mercedes would have another dominant year, I thought I'd jinx it. I sealed their fate back then, man. Bloody hell. As expected, Bottas has been poor all year. There hasn't been really a noteworthy performance from Bottas. He has never put in any kind of good performance this year, and usually, in the past, he's put in one or two decent performances, maybe even a race win if he gets lucky. But Mercedes have had the rug swept under them. I meant had the rug pulled from under them. I'm ill, give me a break. Please. The car. They don't have a car that's as dominant this year. So that's meant that Bottas has been in a worse position, and his lack of talent, I wouldn't say lack of talent because there are worse drivers than him, for sure. But I do think it has been put on show how much he's been relying on dominant cars. So pretty much as I expected, Bottas hasn't been doing so well, languishing down in fourth in the World Drivers' standings. Yeah, and this is one. I told you all this was going to happen. No one believed me. No one believed me. And I watched the race in Bahrain, and I thought, crap, maybe everyone was right. But I stuck with my principles, and I was right. Gasly has well outperformed Tsunoda. And that's not just been because, well, Gasly has had a stellar season, again. You know, he's a great driver, you know, stellar season after stellar season. I can't fault his consistency, but Tsunoda, he's just not been there, has he? He's, you know, and it's, one could put it down to inexperience because he's just come from Formula 2. And of course it's difficult in the big bad world of Formula 1, but you'd expect him to be doing a little bit better. He's quite far off the pace from Gasly, and I think that's how it's going to continue. I can't see him lasting longer than 1 or 2 seasons in AlphaTauri, to be honest. I reckon it would have been better for them to have kept Kvyat. Like, I've been saying that since late last year, but who listened to me? Nobody listened to me. I was right. Baba Booey. Now, also as expected, Schumacher has outperformed Mazepin. I didn't expect Mazepin to be quite that abysmal, to be honest. Holy crap. Raikkonen has been outperforming Giovinazzi, though they haven't been getting much airtime, so I can't really comment on the Alfa Romeos, to be honest, because they haven't got much airtime. I haven't seen them much. They're just there, kinda. They're not so bad that they're talk of the town, but they're not so good or outperforming where they were last year, so that the entire grid's talking about them. The only reason anyone ever talks about Alfa Romeo is for two reasons. One being their livery looks beautiful, which it does, and the other being, when's Raikkonen going to retire? It's impossible to tell. He could go on forever. He's a machine, man, I swear. And another thing I've been right on in terms of driver pairings, Vettel has been outperforming Stroll. Now, this isn't as clear-cut as some other driver rivalries within teams. I think it's clear that Vettel is outperforming Stroll. He took a couple races to get used to the Aston Martin, but he has been putting on some very good performances. 2 podiums, because I'm still bitter about that penalty that got him disqualified, man. I'm still very bitter about that. He deserved P2 in Hungary. So, 2 podiums from Vettel in a car that's behind the McLarens, behind the Ferraris. You know, that's not something that you can just ignore. Vettel has been great this season. I think he'll continue to impress. I think if there's a crazy race again, or because that was Aston Martin's goal, we win the crazy races. So that's just what's going to happen, I reckon. If it's rainy in Spa, like the weather forecasters are saying, it could be Vettel's race. I reckon Vettel is on for 1 race win. I hope I haven't jinxed that. And another thing that's been as expected is Williams. They've both gotten points, so that's good. I knew both of the Williams drivers would get points. The Williams have both been with points. Latifi is on more points. It's advantage Latifi at Williams right now. And I have to admit, I was wrong on his racecraft. I was really wrong on him. I can't fault him. I can't fault him whatsoever. He's got great race pace. And I've got to be honest, the race in Hungary, he maintained that position. He didn't lose it. He didn't break under pressure. He just kept it. I can guarantee you, had I or any, like, say, other Formula 2 driver been in his shoes, they would have absolutely shit themselves, I'm telling you. So, I was very wrong about Latifi. Very, very wrong about Latifi. I still think he's perhaps replaceable if George leaves. So it could be like Hülkenberg Bottas, for example. I do think there are better options, but Latifi is not the worst option by a long shot. And this brings me on to the point that Russell has also been doing great in the Williams. And the Williams team as a whole, that car has been really strong this year. And I'm happy about that, you know. The car has done really well for Williams, and they deserve it. After what they've been through in 2018, 2019, 2020, the shockers, the struggle, the pain, the anguish. Because it's stressful. That's the kind of thing that drives teams to bankruptcy, bad performance. Sponsors leave, drivers leave, and eventually you're left with no choice but to just call it a day on the team. But Williams has stood firm. Sure, there's been an owner change, but under Jost Capito, people were very, very cautious about that move and perhaps even scared, but it's worked out by far for the best for Williams, and that's good. I'm happy about that because it could have gone a lot worse. Now, Norris, oh my god, I was so wrong about him. He has been amazing this season. He has been so quick. He's just constantly blistering. Whenever I see him on a race, he's like outperforming where a lot of people think he should be. He's constantly improving. And that's the whole point of a young Formula 1 driver. Sure, he's been in for a few seasons now, but he's really doing well. And for a young driver like him, I can see him being in contention for World Championships in years to come. I really underestimated him. Norris is an amazing driver and really down-to-earth person as well. I just hope he doesn't know about Stan Twitter and the fact that they're all looking on about him having a girlfriend. Lando, mate, I'll think for you. Anyway, moving on to constructors. I was so wrong. Alonso and Ocon, they've done way better than I thought. I thought Alonso would be languishing towards the back, and I still have a bit of an agenda against him, I can't lie, because I thought that seat would have been better going to, say, Piastri or Lundgaard. or its rightful owner before he sadly passed away, Antoine Hubert. So I don't think Alonso is the best option, but he's a good option, I will concede that. And Ocon as well. Ocon has been doing great. You know, that race victory in Hungary, he kept his own. He made no mistakes. Every foot he put right. So as a result, it's like Alpine have done better, and Ferrari too. Ferrari have done a lot better in the championship. And it's Sainz as well. Sainz is someone I want to talk about because he's done very well as well. He's been holding his own against Leclerc. He got used to the car at record pace. You know, he was there from the first race, and I tip my hat to him because it takes a great driver to get used to such a change in vehicle that fast in Formula 1. So well done to Sainz, and I think he's going to keep performing. So with all of that being said, let's move on to who's done worse than expected. Ricciardo. It's just not going well for him, is it? I think he's struggling to get used to the car in the slow and medium speed turns. So he could do better in Spa and Monza, but we'll have to see. It's hard not to feel sorry for him because he is a great driver. It's just the circumstances have never been right. It's always been wrong place, wrong time. And I think he should never have really left Red Bull because he was doing amazing there, but he had his reasons, I suppose, at the time. Lots of DNFs, lots of reliability, strife, all of that. And I hope it all comes together for Ricciardo because so far he's just not been there, and I think it's a lot to do with mental, it's a lot to do with morale. I did think 23 races would be a war of attrition, and attrition is definitely getting to Daniel Ricciardo right now. Now there are a lot of teams that have done worse than expected, and that's because I didn't do very well in predicting the Constructors' Championships. That are Aston Martin, Haas and Alfa. Aston Martin, they've just done worse than expected. They've not been terrible. They have not been terrible by any measure, but McLaren and Ferrari have made such strides that it makes Aston Martin look bad because I expected them to be the third car up there essentially. So it's strange really. I guess I should have expected Ferrari to come back. You know, a frustrating 2020 season would have meant they'll have really wanted to recover, take the hit in 2020 to focus development on 2021. And they've been there. Ferrari have been great. You know, Leclerc and Sainz, they're the perfect drivers for him at the moment, I think. Vettel needed somewhere new. And that's why I think he's doing well in the Aston Martin, because he needed somewhere new. He needed a fresh sort of environment, and an environment different from Ferrari. Because in Vettel's case, I feel like it was very tough for him in the last couple of seasons, seeing his role as #1 slipping away, never winning that 5th World Championship with Ferrari, never sort of fulfilling his dream, and it's a shame for him, but I think it will work out for him at Aston Martin. That aside, Alfa Romeo, they've done a bit worse than expected, but it was hard to predict Alfa Romeo because they've not really changed anything. There haven't been much news coming out. I suppose they haven't really been better or worse, really. I mean, in 2020 they were scoring more points, now they're scoring less, so I don't know, maybe they just haven't nailed the new floor regs as well. Maybe they're focusing on 2022 a bit more. We'll just have to find out next year, won't we? And Haas. I knew they'd do bad, but oh my god, they've been terrible. 2-3 seconds off the pace, I think, in quali. Probably not that extreme, but they have been very off the pace. And now, I don't think it's at all possible for Mick Schumacher to score points, or Nikita Mazepin. Unless there's 10 DNFs, which I don't think has happened since the 70s, when cars would just blow up randomly. It's impossible. I can't see it happening, I really can't. Probably won't get another pilot like we did at Mugello, where there's like 8 cars out and they can snap it up, and even if there were, that's 2 non-points positions that the Haases would be in. So it's impossible, I think, under normal circumstances for Haas to score points. Now, I'm going to close off now by looking at my predictions heading forth through the second leg of the season and towards the season's end. I think the Hamilton-Verstappen fight is going to go down to the wire. We're going to see some races advantage Verstappen, so probably next few, the Red Bull. Well, it's hard to say. I think Mercedes will be ahead, the first few races back because they're on the front foot heading to the summer performance-wise. But I think Red Bull, they will bite back, especially on the tighter circuits. I know Singapore's been cancelled and that, thank the Lord. It's hard to say, it's hard to call, because who knows what's going to happen with what tracks are introduced in place of so many that have been cancelled. So it's really just a case of we're going to have to see, but either way, whoever's advantage it is, it will go down to the wire. You could argue it being advantage Hamilton or advantage Verstappen. There are plenty of arguments for both ways. Verstappen's very determined to take the title. Hamilton's very experienced and knows how to win a title. It's mainly down to the development of the cars, because both drivers are probably equally as skilled. So it's hard to call, it's impossible to call really. And as for Ricciardo, like I've said, he could see a resurgence, he might not. I would like to think he will resurge as he gets used to the car, but I think it will be towards the end of the season. And I fear for his place in McLaren, I do. I hope that Zach Brown and Andreas Seidel and whoever calls the shots, I hope they're patient with Ricciardo, if anything. And I can't see Tsunoda redeeming himself. But the key question, can I see Russell scoring more points? Absolutely, why not? Why the hell not? The Williams is there, it is a points scoring car, if driven correctly. But the other question remains, do I think Russell will finish ahead of Latifi? Probably. Yeah, I reckon if anyone's going to get lucky enough to get points in this crazy scenario in the Williams, it is going to still be Russell. I reckon Russell is more sort of skilled than Latifi. I don't know, he seems a lot more comfortable and assured. But maybe I'm basing that off qualifying performance. Either way, that also begs the question, do I think George Russell will go to Mercedes? My heart says yes, I hope he does. My head says Mercedes might keep Anthony Bottas to try and hold off Max Verstappen next year. I hope they don't do that, that would be suicide for the team, because right now, realistically, they only have one gunner, because where is Bottas, realistically? Where has Bottas been? He hasn't had any noteworthy performances this season, and it's all because he doesn't have the dominant car anymore. He has a car that's, say, on par with Red Bull. It's impossible to call. We've seen Toto Wolff talking with George Russell a lot. Obviously, Frederic Vasseur in the Mercedes building in the paddock. So there are signs that Russell could be going to Mercedes and Bottas to Alfa Romeo to replace a retiring Raikkonen. But it's impossible to call. I think we'll know around Spa time, and I'll probably make another video, talking about it when that happens. But anyway, that's about it for the review of my predictions. As it turns out, I was quite wrong, but it's impossible to get these things entirely spot on, so it was to be expected, the review inaccuracies and stuff. So thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video after I've taken my amoxicillin. See ya!
He's based in Red Pill.